Alrighty, boys. So if you're just joining us over from the YouTube side of things, so we are live right now. If you guys want to check out the live streams and watch my reactions live, you guys can go ahead and find it in the link in the description. Switch.tv/EliteRaiderVP, or you can just go click on my bio, go to the live page over on YouTube. We're always live on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Unless I say it's something different, which in that case, you guys can go to my Discord and you guys can get all those announcements and stuff like that. And the Discord is linked in the description as well. Just my regular community one. But anyways, without further ado, boys, we're going to be reacting to YouTube's Darkest Videos by Nick Crowley. So I started getting into these a little bit about, like, I'd say, like a week ago, or not even a week ago, probably like 2 days ago. I watched like Dante react to a few of them. He only has a few on his channel. So I figured let's react to the ones that I haven't seen and then put it up for content up on YouTube, since I need some more React content. Anyways, boys, let's go ahead and get into it. No, if there's a comment shout out, it'll be up there, but I don't know. It'll be up there at some point. But anyways, boys, let's go ahead and get going with the actual video itself.
The dark side of YouTube, a place that I probably frequent far too often for my own good. But I've fallen in love with the search for finding the most
vibes it gives is just so fucking so crazy. How old is this video?
Channels. But in these haunting corners, I often
4 years ago
stumbling upon one-off videos whose origins are both deeply disturbing and entirely mysterious. And today we'll be deep diving into three.
It's crazy because the editing in the newer ones is crazy, but it still has the same vibe as the older videos. Intelsat.
Space exploration. At its most successful, we have produced some of mankind's greatest accomplishments.
That's one small step for man.
But with these inspiring victories came tragic failures.
Challenger, go and throttle up.
Okay. Oh.
There's little room for error when attempting to visit space.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the failures are catastrophic, to the point where they can't be hidden from the public eye. But oddly enough, perhaps one of the greatest disasters in the great pursuit of space is likely one that many of you haven't heard of, and that's because in large part, it may have been covered up. It happened back in February 1996 at the Xichang Satellite Launch Center in China. There, an American company named Space Systems, in collaboration with Chinese scientists, had built a telecommunications satellite that was set to take off on the 15th of the month, with China having built and produced the rocket itself.
Don't have anybody in it.
The satellite would be known as Intelsat 708 and was set to orbit Earth for 15 long years, an estimated lifespan that would turn out to be
what's so bad about a satellite? There's nobody on it.
As in actuality, its trip would only last a mere 15 seconds. On the 15th of February 1996, the Seattle Times would publish an article titled "China Rocket Crashes to Earth. Fatalities Reported in Space Program Setback." The story went on to read, the newly developed Long March 3B rocket carrying the Intelsat Inc. satellite veered towards the ground and exploded moments after liftoff at 3:01 a.m. Hong Kong radio said 4 people were killed and dozens were injured in the explosion, but Shang Lui, a spokeswoman for the government aerospace agency, said that there were no deaths. It's a devastating scene to imagine, however, as the rocket was said to weigh roughly 900,000 pounds and would have produced a violent explosion. But the early conflicting reports in the death toll were initially a promising sign, as the one official source had claimed that there were no fatalities. However, this number would later be changed after investigation, as Chinese officials reported that, in the end, 6 people had died as the result of the satellite's crash,
and it could have been more.
A whopping 57 others, having suffered minor injuries.
It could have been even more. It could have been vaporized,
but with
which
the
is
information
horrible.
presented by the government, it seems safe to say that things could have gone a lot worse, and that's because they likely did.
Jesus Christ.
When on site, the group of Americans would wind up filming the entire event in a recording that has now found a home on YouTube. And thanks to this video, we have a visual of just how horrific the incident truly was.
Okay, so it goes up. Oh my god. It immediately just takes off to the side. Oh. Yeah, I don't think that's good, man. Holy. Oh my. Bro. Oh my god, dude, the freaking sound of the shockwave.
A devastating explosion.
Damn.
Created such a powerful shockwave that all the glass in the surrounding area had shattered.
Fucking
something that can
boof.
actually be heard moments after the crash.
That's like a meteor smacking against the earth.
And this isn't the only angle
Holy.
shown in the video either, as someone in a nearby town had been recording as well.
Oh my god, could you imagine being in that nearby town? Bro. That's even closer.
This angle shows the rocket striking incredibly close to where the
Yeah,
person
what
was
the
filming.
hell?
But what it failed to show is that not only had this rocket crashed, but it had crashed directly in the center of what is believed to be Maylin Village, an area that was said to be home to well over 1,000 civilians.
Holy
Seeing the
shit.
massive explosion and knowing it happened right in the middle of a
Hold
popular
on.
village
Wait
leads
a
one
minute.
to imagine
All that space that they have over in China, and they couldn't build a fucking space area that like was miles and miles and miles away. Like I don't mean like 50 miles. I mean like a stupid distance. I get people that gotta commute to and from work, but bro, why would you have it that close to a village, like a regular ass town? That's like having like a space station right next to LA. Like that's the stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard. Like why the fuck?
how
That
only
makes
6
no
people had
fucking
lost their
sense.
lives.
No
Things only
fucking
get more
sense.
suspicious as the video
All
shows
space
the
stations over here
destruction
in America
up
are like
close the following day.
out in the distance. They're far as shit from everything. Oh my god. Damn. That's the fucking dude. Everything got fucking. Holy shit. Could you imagine taking a shit when this happened?
It's hard to put into
Oof.
words the level of ruin that this village
Shit would
was in
immediately
following
ejected.
the crash. Buildings everywhere were not just damaged,
They were
but
destroyed.
decimated, reduced to nothing but rubble. And it wasn't in a centralized location either, as the damage was spread out everywhere, making it
Yeah.
unlikely that many would survive the ordeal had they been in the immediate
Definitely
area.
fucking not.
Which begs that question, how had more people not died? This question has prompted many to wonder whether or not China had
That sounds like a
covered up the
fucking-
official number of casualties.
That's a cover
in an
up, bro.
attempt to not lose all credibility in their space program. A theory
That's a
that is
cover up.
further brought into question
There's no
by the
way.
fact that
That's an
reporters
entire
were quickly
fucking
taken away
town.
from the site, only to see dozens
With
of
1,000 people in
ambulances,
it?
as well as flatbed trucks that some claimed were used to load the dead. Trucks that had gotten to the scene well before the Americans recording the ordeal were able to, which would have provided them ample time to remove any bodies from the area. However, despite the video emerging and all the questions put forward,
Yeah, and wouldn't there
the
be a
official
bunch of
death
people
toll has
rebuilding if
never
they were
been
all alive?
changed by Chinese officials. Yet in the United States, experts have given their own estimates of the sheer magnitude of the catastrophe.
They probably
as
wiped
it's
out the
widely believed
entire
that
fucking
anywhere
town.
From 200 to 500 people had perished as a result of the faulty satellite launch. With some
'Cause there were people
experts even
outside, yeah,
suggesting
but, like,
the number
that was
is
a
even
few
higher.
compared to the
Just
1,000.
watching this infamous video, it's not hard to understand why.
Holy
But
shit.
unfortunately, it's likely we'll never know how many people died that day, as Chinese officials have held firm on their death toll, claiming the area had actually been evacuated before impact, though this claim is heavily disputed to this day. And it's made it
Evacuated,
even more
motherfucker, they had
difficult to
15
find
seconds.
answers, as the village itself that's shown within this video technically doesn't even exist. According to a handful of first-hand
Wait a
accounts, after the incident, this entire village had simply vanished, with there being, quote, virtually no trace of it having ever existed. In the end,
That sounds like a planned job, bro.
Unanswered questions.
There's somebody who lived in that village that did not want around, bro. That's how it looks like to me.
Very well be the most devastating space-related disaster of all time, as it's likely
They
we'll
fucking
never see
wiped
anything
that
of this
town.
magnitude again. Or
Holy fucking shit. Oh my god. That is not okay, bro. Holy shit. Is that a rocket? Why are they standing next to it? What if it blows up again? Debris from it. That was only debris too. Could you imagine it was a whole fucking rocket? Bro. These guys are all just fucking talking on regular and shit. Like, bro, what the fuck?
the following were all videos that have surfaced here on YouTube from China, showcasing other rocket launch failures that again have decimated more towns.
Dude, China's got the worst fucking rockets ever, apparently.
Very recently, with most having gone unreported on by Chinese officials. And had it not been for these YouTube videos, we would likely have no idea that these disasters had even happened. It's very clear that China has been.
Do you even want to know whether the fuck these things happen?
Failures, with it all likely having started back with Intelsat 708. So though for now this may likely be the most devastating space launch failure ever, it may not hold this title forever.
Final dive?
Our next video takes us to Bosnia, which is home to some of the most
we're only 10 minutes in.
Bridge diving competitions
10 minutes
in the world. And though these events may seem reckless and
my fucking
in
god,
actuality, they are a commonplace, with TV networks even airing the competitions live.
Dude, this shit is crazy.
Capturing tragedy on live TV. And on August 7th, 2016, one of these televised events would go live as divers jumped from a 65-foot bridge in the river Drina. One of the top competitors entering the day was Andre Bew, a gold medalist diver with thousands of dives under his belt.
Right.
And though the water was said to be a little chilly that day, conditions were otherwise perfect for the event, as Andre prepared to show off his skill to the crowd. And from the moment he leapt off that platform, he appeared to be in top form, hitting the water with his usual grace.
Right.
Another stellar dive by the champion. Only this time, things would quickly go wrong.
What the fuck happened? They just not come back up or something? What the fuck happened?
Andre can be seen on camera for a moment resurfacing from his dive, but almost immediately things go awry as his head submerges back under the water, disappearing into the murky depths. Soon after, we can see one of his arms briefly break the surface before going under again, this time disappearing completely. Luckily, there was a rescue crew waiting on standby for a moment just like this, as they drove their boats over to the struggling swimmer. But despite the large number of emergency staff, they all seemed hesitant to jump in the water, and it takes Andre's head resurfacing once again for the first lifeguard to enter the water. However, at this point, he was already gone. Andre, the championship diver, a man who has done countless other dives,
but what the hell happened?
Had vanished.
That's a real question.
To the point where emergency crews would eventually be called.
What the hell is that noise?
His lifeless body would be found days later down the river on August 11th, having suffered from multiple fractures as well as typical decay.
Get out of
the video would soon be posted to YouTube and picked up steam on local and worldwide news outlets, with many wondering what could have happened to make this otherwise masterful diver lose his life on such a routine day. especially given that
Put
there
that in a
seemed to
YouTube
be
video.
nothing in his
Fucking
near
cat just went in the
dive
flower
that
bag,
would
bro.
indicate a risk of injury
Oh, sorry.
upon hitting the water. And even if it hadn't been
What is
perfect,
wrong with you,
the
bro?
large number of emergency staff should have been enough
need a
to
bath.
prevent a tragedy like this. But despite them being on scene within seconds, not only was he not rescued, but his body would go missing for days. Despite the video being viewed over 1 million times, there still seems to be no concrete and accepted cause of death, which has caused several theories to pop up as to what may have actually happened that day. Some theorize that the cold temperature of the water had sent his body into shock, a note that is given some validity, as the emergency crew on hand would later give an excuse for not entering the water in a timely manner by saying that the water was, quote, too cold. A jarring claim given that they were paid professionals, hired specifically to rescue helpless swimmers, yet they were deterred by cold water. But this shock theory doesn't fully add up, as multiple divers had already participated up until this point, and none had faced any issues whatsoever. And if the water was truly that cold, one would imagine that they would have just cancelled the event altogether, as again these were legitimate, professionally run events. Now perhaps the darkest theory put forth is that Andre was dragged below the surface by something in the water. This may sound ridiculous at first, but the River Drina is known to be inhabited by a species of fish called the Wells catfish. These catfish are remarkably large, as
that
they
part,
can reach
that's still gonna
sizes
be
of
that part
over
of the video,
9
man.
feet long,
Oh my
with
god.
the heaviest ever being caught.
That's a big ass
being
fish.
at a
What did I
staggering
miss?
330 pounds. And they are said to be extremely hostile, especially during
I had to
mating
friggin' wipe my cat
season,
down.
when males are guarding their
She literally
nests.
jumped into the
And
flower bag, bro.
coincidentally,
She's covered in
competition
flour.
had taken place right at the end of their typical
Pendeja.
mating season. So it's entirely possible that when Andre jumped in the water, he landed in the vicinity of one of these protective fish, who would have then instinctively attacked, dragging him under the water and leaving him unable to swim back to the surface. This would explain why he seems to almost be sucked under the water, even looking behind him as if he noticed it coming towards him, as well as why the emergency response team was so hesitant to jump in after him. Plus, it would account for how his body had disappeared so quickly, and how they were unable to locate it until days after, with multiple fractures. And given the lack of protruding teeth that these fish have, the injuries that it would have left behind would be more akin to bruising and fractures, which were injuries that were supposedly prevalent on his body. And these facts
They don't
are
clear the
far from
waters for
only
this
evidence
shit?
to point to this cause of death, with the most damning coming from the video itself. When watching the clip, right as we see Andre's arm surface, for the final time, we can see what appears to be a fin breaking the surface just feet away from him. Many have speculated that this could be the tail fin of a giant Wells catfish, as it appears to be completely synchronized with Andre going under the water for the final time, leaving this as a very legitimate theory. But along with this, another major theory has been put forth, and that is the idea that Andre had suffered a broken vertebrae upon entering the water. The news site Telegraph actually reported this as the official autopsy's cause of death, but the validity of this claim is shaky, as it offers no citations, as well as being the only news site to report this information, despite universal coverage of the case. But we do know that his body did have multiple fractures when it was found, though the location of it has yet to be confirmed. And with that being said, a broken vertebrae is a risk for any diver, and it would have limited him from being able to keep his head above water, even as a experienced
I people do this shit, bro.
But as
People
mentioned
are fucking
previously,
stupid.
nothing
Just don't do
seemed
it.
off in his diving form.
I can
And
live
had he
without
actually
fucking diving off a
suffered
fucking
from
bridge,
vertebrae
bro. I think I'm good.
fractures once hitting the water, he likely would have lost all feelings in his limbs, rendering him unable to move. Yet he was able to hold his head above water and move his arms during the ordeal. So either they had fractured,
or it could have been his legs that were jacked up, and he was just flailing his arms.
Causing him to go limp.
Dude, Chad, this video is
a dead
crazy,
end.
bro. Fucking
Whatever
crazy.
the case may be, the event and the subsequent video footage
Fuck
remains a chilling mystery. Andre's
Yeah, it
family
does.
has since
Does remain
sued
a
the
fucking
response
chilling
team
mystery,
for
because what the
negligence.
fuck?
And while there's no way to be sure, it's more than likely that
After this
the
video, boys,
master
we're gonna play some
response
Rivals.
team would have at the very least
5 for an
recovered
hour.
his body
Here's
in
a Fortnite for an
timely
hour.
manner and given
And
the
then,
family
I don't know, when I get home later
more
today, I'll edit all those
definitive
videos.
answers and
I'm gonna
some
record
much-needed
everything, so.
closure. But whereas Andre and his family likely would have never guessed his life would end that day,
After going,
our final
obviously.
video
Probably won't have time to do all of them.
showcases a subject
I'll upload
that
this
may
one,
be
though.
alluding to
This
her
one will be
own
easy to edit.
impending fate.
Shouldn't be too long, like 30 minutes.
Hi, Chris. Hey, Shannon. We were talking by the fire.
Oh, man. Dude, these are fun to watch, bro. I don't know if that's just me, but, I mean, it's fun. Okay, yeah, that's great. The cut in and the white silhouette.
This is
Hell
Oh
no.
In Hai, a 36-year-old Korean actress turned beauty YouTuber, a beloved and at times controversial
narrator?
celebrity from South Korea. And the video you're
Right.
watching now follows the typical mold of many others across her channel, as she frequently shared beauty tips in the form of vlogs.
Right.
However, this video came with a twist, due to the fact that it would prove to be the last she'd ever post.
What the
As
fuck?
just 2 days upon going live, she would be dead, leaving behind a grieving family,
What
thousands of
the
heartbroken
hell?
fans, and what some would claim to be a cryptic set of clues. It was the night of September 13th, 2020, when a friend of Oh In Hai checked in on the actress, only to find her unconscious.
Oh, that was during COVID, yeah.
Medical personnel were called, but by the time they reached the hospital, she had no pulse. And despite having been
What
revived
the
for a
hell?
short period of time, she would sadly pass away on the morning of September 14th. The
Okay,
investigation that
but
followed was a quick one, and equally as vague, with officials hastily stating that the actress had taken her own life, something that would be confirmed via autopsy the following day, with her official cause of death being cardiac arrest from a suicide attempt. Although details from this autopsy would never be released, and no further context was provided.
okay, but like,
leading to the story
what
being
the
forgotten,
fuck gave her
as many
cardiac
have accepted
arrest?
In-Hai's death as an open and shut case. However, despite the autopsy being released, online speculation had only just begun, as internet sleuths began to notice a number of oddities, especially in regards to her social media use in the
Right.
days leading to her death. And it all seemed to begin with that final video titled In-Hai's Nightly Routine Skincare. The video itself was labeled as Volume 48, something she did chronologically with every video she uploaded. But strangely,
Damn, and she had a
In-Hai
cat she
made
left
an error
behind,
with
bro.
this
That's even
final
more
video,
sad, too.
as her previous upload was 45.
It's even worse than
actually
it already
this
is,
video would have
man.
been Volume 46 instead of 48. A rather minor detail to nitpick, but it gets even stranger from here. As the video plays, things take a sudden turn as a jarring glitch unfolds on the screen. A glitch that begins 48 seconds in and ends at the 1 minute and 46 second mark.
Okay.
즉흥적으로 해보려고 카메라를 켰습니다. 아 시원해. 아직 머리도 안 말렸는데 진짜 리얼로
What the
보여드릴게요. 정말 평소에 쓰는 나이트 케어가 어떻게 되는지 순서도 지금 즉흥적으로.
That's not creepy at all.
첫 번째는 토너를 화장솜에 묻혀서 닦아내야겠죠?
The video of In-Hai randomly begins to buffer
Yo,
for
epilepsy
nearly
warning,
10
boys.
minutes in a bizarre
Jesus
and
Christ.
disturbing manner, as it gives the illusion of In-Hai chopping at her neck over and over and over again. And even more strangely, despite the audio track being consistent throughout this strange glitch, around the 92-second mark, you can hear what appears to be another voice come in.
아시죠?
It seems unnaturally high-pitched, and
What
clearly was
the-
not part of the original audio track. According to multiple reports online, this unexplained voice supposedly says something that roughly translates to, "I'm going to die."
What
Though
the
some have countered
fuck,
this
chat?
claim, stating that this translation
Hell
is
no.
a reach. Around the 103rd second mark, another unnatural voice can also be heard, though to my knowledge, a direct translation
Shit
hasn't
giving
been
me
found.
chills.
어느 정도 흡수를 시켜준 다음에
And immediately following the strange soundbite, the video begins to play normally, as if nothing happened. It's an error that lasts no
Right.
more than a minute, yet the clock in the background of the video skips forward 3 to 4 minutes, potentially casting doubt on the idea that this could be an error within the video file itself. All in all, this entire section of the video is off-putting,
Creepy.
and In-Hai herself
Creepy.
even addresses this by adding, "Please skip over the buffering parts," in parentheses at the end of her title. Despite the clarification, it's hard to ignore the movements she makes during this. I mean, she's repeatedly chopping at her neck for a whole minute, and couple this with the supposed disembodied voice seemingly saying, "I'm going to die." Something about this video just wasn't adding up, as after all, looking through her channel, every one of her other videos are cleanly
Very
edited
normal.
and filmed
Yeah.
in a professional manner. and going through her catalog reveals no major editing flaws. Yet this minute-long error in the beginning of a video made the final cut.
Yeah, it's one thing to have like a small error, because I've messed up sometimes where like the video will like it's not fully rendered or something like that, or like something will be messed up like a transition. That's a transition. That's just like a second or two. That's something that I barely missed. People point it out, be like 10 seconds, and be like, oh damn, I'll fix that next time. That's a full fucking minute. She didn't see that in the editing process?
Be off here, especially given the fact that just 48 hours later, Owen High would be dead.
And then she died.
And though this may just be a coincidental glitch, I struggle to believe that an error like that could cause these strange voices, especially when those voices are pitched differently, and that one
So is it a fucking ghost that got her? Said she died of cardiac arrest?
If it wasn't a buffering error, then that means it would have been done intentionally, which is incredibly important to note given that Owen High was her own video editor for this particular video. She had sole control over its production, meaning she would have been the one to orchestrate this, which leaves the big question, why?
Okay, and then how the fuck did she actually die? Like, how did she try to kill herself?
Alluding to her own death within this video, as just 48 hours later, she would be found without a pulse. A time that is noteworthy, considering she had mistakenly numbered her video as 48, despite it really being the 46th upload, along with the glitch itself beginning at the 48-second mark. And to add even more to the coincidence of this number, in her video prior to her last, she added these subtitles which feature the numbers 4 and 8, shown over and over again, which in the context of the video did actually translate to a relevant joke. However, it's strange regardless.
But still,
that would make one question whether she used the number 48 to symbolize her impending death, especially given the movement of her comb and the morbid voiceover.
Oh, yeah.
And the theories don't stop there,
shit.
as there were even those who thought that this wasn't a clue to her impending suicide, but rather it was a hint at her impending murder. This theory stems from her last Instagram post, uploaded on the night of her death, that simply featured a photo of a flower, but the caption is what interests most, as it translated to, "I guess everyone is seeing this, even the person who said I'm just a body," implying a piece of meat, and saying it's not the wording that he can even use till the end. "I think I have to expose you, because of that one phrase. I didn't want to believe anything else that came out of that mouth." Tagged in the post was a prominent lawyer and frequent social media user named Crowley, a man who, even to this day, we're unsure of what his relationship was to Owen High. Much like the video she had posted in the days prior, this caption was extremely out of the ordinary.
Crazy, and like,
dude,
the conspiracy is crazy. Conspiracy itself is crazy.
And after an hour of confused fans questioning her, Owen High would delete the post altogether. Around this time, Wayne would also delete all of his social media, having gone completely silent since. Quickly, it was speculated that In-High was going to expose Wayne for some type of misconduct, and in fear of losing his career, he went after her. This theory was backed up by testimony from In-High's own family, who upon seeing In-High in the hospital, noticed bruises all over her body, although this was likely a result of the hours of CPR that had been performed on her. Regardless of what the connection was, it is a bit odd that just one day...
But all over her body? That's not CPR. CPR would be in like a general area,
and is again made
like towards her chest, or her stomach, or like even her neck. Not her fucking, the rest of her body.
However, in actuality, Wayne was never even considered a suspect by police, and it has never even been proven that the two knew each other, making it unlikely that he had any involvement in her death.
Right, but then that could have been his alibi, you know?
It seems more likely that this final Instagram post, and even this final video, really just hinted at In-High's declining mental health. Which brings us back to the idea that this video was made as a hint that she would take her own life.
Yeah.
According to her own friends, In-High had spent years in a deep depression that stemmed all the way back in 2011. That year, she became enthralled in controversy when she wore a revealing dress at a Korean award show. And though this may seem like a minor detail, this would actually lead to her eventual blacklisting from the Korean film industry, as she would receive less and less roles until 2014, when she would cease appearing in films completely, becoming a universally hated person in the country she lived in.
Damn,
so
that's
it's
crazy.
understandable why she would have been in a very dark place mentally.
That
And
sucks.
given the taboo nature of mental health in South Korea, she likely did not have resources for proper
Yeah,
therapy
no, they don't have
or
shit.
medication to help deal with these
Had
feelings.
higher suicide
Something
rate?
that
That's
could have
fucking
escalated
crazy.
to her acting erratically, and maybe even sending out a cryptic call for help, with Wang potentially having said or did something that would prove to be the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. Or, at the end of the day, it could all just be a huge coincidence. As, after all, practically all the articles we could find on this case are far from reputable, and many of the strange details could, at the end of the day, be chalked up to as confirmation bias. Plus, we've seen many online claims that it's very likely the mysterious
This is
voices
just
being
creepy,
heard
bro.
were really
This is just
her
fucking
voice sped
creepy.
up for
Not only is
comedic
it creepy,
effect,
but like
to make some sort of sarcastic joke.
the
I know that is
coincidences
easy to miss as a
and the
non-native
conspiracy
speaker.
are a little fucking
Whatever the
too
true meaning of this
coincidency, I
video
guess you could say.
is,
Like
it
they're
serves
too
as a dark spot in the
like
world
they
of
fit too
YouTube,
well.
with it having been mysteriously
Jesus
removed
Christ.
once speculation began to arise for reasons that remain unknown, making it a cryptic yet fitting end to one of YouTube's darkest videos.
Yeah, that is fucking horrible. I did not think that video was gonna go that crazy. Yeah, that I don't know, but we're definitely doing more of these reactions to Nick Crowley because Lord have mercy. That was crazy. The other ones were crazy, the ones that I've already seen. The ones I have seen are a couple of the newer ones. But that was dark. Okay, that was really bad. Hearing these stories is just absolutely crazy. Anyways, boys, that's pretty much going to cover it for the video portion of it. If you guys are here for the stream, we're going to go play some Rivals. But for the video portion, that was wild. And we're doing more of these, and we'll be doing more react content to other stuff, not even just dark videos. So don't worry, this is just not a one-off, but not the regular content. Anyways, boys, if you guys were a part of the video, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching.